The Supreme Court taking on what could be the biggest free speech case in our lifetimes. The justice is hearing arguments all day on whether the Biden administration violated the First Amendment by pressuring big tech social media companies to remove content they didn't like. Biden's lackeys tried to get sites like Twitter and Facebook to take down so-called disinformation relating to the COVID vaccine and the election, but the White House denies they were being coercive. The final decision could have major implications over what you could get to post online. One of the Republicans who sued explaining what's at stake.
It's the most important free speech case in our lifetime because it involves some of the highest ranking government officials in our country colluding and coercing with some of the biggest social media companies in the world to suppress millions of posts. Some of them wanted to kind of take some of these down, but there were instances where they were actually pushing back and the government said, do it or else.
So where do you draw the line, Harold? These White House officials, DHS officials, FBI officials pressuring companies censor Americans?
Well, we'll see. That's what the case is about. And if what Mr. Schmidt, what he says is accurate, then the court will weigh in rightly so. We try to glean sometimes from the arguments. Today, the arguments happened before the Supreme Court, and it appears, at least from some of the reporting and some of the audio that came out of it, that all of the justices, including those who were appointed by Democrat presidents and Republican presidents, expressed some concern. And it appears that their concern rested on a simple legal premise, and the judge has far more experience in this than I do, although we learned about it in law school. First is once you say something is unlawful, you then have to show evidence of its unlawfulness, of the conduct you allege is unlawful. Then you have to show how harm was caused by that conduct. And that's what the judges were asking the attorney, that's what the justices, were asking the attorney generals of, I believe, Missouri and Louisiana, who brought the case. So we'll see. And at least from the reports, I heard an exchange between Judge Alito and some of the lawyers, and he wondered aloud whether the White House would pressure newspapers. He specifically said the New York Times in matters like this. And apparently Justices Kagan and Kavanaugh, who both were White House officials in earlier parts of their careers, said they remember pressuring the New York Times and other newspapers. We probably have a set mate here who might be able to give us some perspective on that as well.
Did you glean anything, Judge, from these oral arguments today?
Well, I don't know if this case may be a bad case upon which to see the broadest pressure campaign being brought by the federal government against social media companies, private individuals, as well as, viewpoints disfavored by the government in American history. This is going to be huge. Normally, when you talk about the First Amendment, it's normally about, the First Amendment where it constrains government from interfering with your freedom of speech. What they've got here is they want government to be able to suppress your free speech on the grounds that they think their free speech is more important. The whole thing is upside down. And the White House is arguing that the court cannot stop them because government must be allowed to speak freely. And I have no problem with the government being allowed to speak freely. But by the same token, Americans have to be allowed to speak freely. And they are demanding that social media companies shut down individuals and their free speech. And the amazing part of all this is that the unrelenting pressure that the White House and the federal government can bring can be enormous. But when you think about 2020 and you think about why would the White House be so interested in suppressing people's opinions when the Supreme Court allows hate speech? You can say something that is hateful, that is protected by the Supreme Court, but you can't give your opinion on COVID. And all of a sudden they're going to say, we agree with the White House. The thing that taints it is the billions of dollars that were made by pharmaceutical companies that were then able to force the government to say, stop people from saying, don't take the vaccine. And right now today, if you want to give blood, you know what they ask you? Have you taken the COVID vaccine before you're allowed to give blood?
That's why I don't like to give blood or pretty much anything, Dana.
Yeah, you're
not a giver.
Yeah, you got to work on that charitable giving. Two points. There's a big difference of what I think Kavanaugh and Kagan were saying when you're in a White House press office or in the White House communications team, or you're the CIA director and you weigh in on the press. I fully and will always defend the government protecting a source or a method for a government program that is, for example, protecting a source who is inside a terror cell and trying to disrupt that to protect somebody. And if you just think about enhanced interrogation techniques, for example, like that's the kind of thing where you make a very tough call to a major media organization and say, I'm asking you, please hold off until I can make sure that this person is safe or we have the information that we need. And that can work. And I think it probably works better for Democratic administrations and Republican ones, be that as it may. I would never have said, I know, let's call and make sure that Uncle Bob in Iowa shouldn't be allowed to post something on Facebook. That is insane to me. And that is exactly what the White House did. I was really surprised at reading some of the text messages from the Surgeon General or the emails to the social media companies. I was like, how dare you say that somebody couldn't express their opinion? To me, that crossed the line, and that's what they were talking about today.
And they were wrong not just on COVID, but on the laptop.
They were wrong on a lot of things, Jesse. But you will not see this story get much play because it's not Trump and it's not a Republican. Let's compare it to another story of censorship. Republicans trying to ban books, right? When you hear about attacks on the First Amendment, that's what you hear about. Republicans are trying to ban books. Then you dig deeper and you find that they're trying to remove explicit sexual content from one room and move it somewhere else, away from kids. That's what they call censorship. That was a threat to First Amendment, but somehow not this. And it goes back to this pattern where they amplify an accusation of violating one's rights that they are in fact doing themselves. And this, by the way, this action that we're talking about, what the government did, it trickled down and it harmed people beyond the tech industry. It was now okay to brand people as endangering lives if they had a different opinion. People felt like they were being, that they had to be careful just because they heard about this. And then I go back to the A block, this opportunity cost of these hoaxes, is causing us to overlook a really, really big story, right? This is the White House trying to censor free speech by applying pressure to private companies. Instead, you now will hear stories about bloodbaths, insurrections, Russian collusion, constant systemic racism in order to prevent you or the American public from seeing the real corruption. So we're always involved in this distraction meant to divide us when we should be after them.
We should be after them figuratively.
Inflammatory language.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.